All right, I think we're ready to get started.
We're all ready?
Yep. Welcome, everybody, to our first virtual meet and greet of 2021. My name is Jason Turnier, and I want to introduce my parents, Gary and Joanne, our founders and our co-executive directors. During this webinar, we're going to go over some great stuff. I want to turn it over to Gary to give you the official welcome and get our evening started.
Thank you, Jay. So welcome everyone again. We are so delighted that you could join us this evening for our first virtual meet and greet. Thank you so much for attending. We really appreciate it. As Jason mentioned, my name is Gary Turnier. I am one of the co-founders and executive directors. In addition, and joining us this evening will be my wife, Joanne Turnier, who is also a co-founder and executive director, and our son, Jason Turnier, who is our managing director. So thank you so much for joining us. There are a number of topics that we're going to be covering this evening. We'll be discussing summer 2020 and how successful it was for us and how we're going to build upon our successful summer of 2020 and move some of those things we did into the 2021 season, which we're very excited about. Coming up, we have so many things planned and installed for the children. So it should be a wonderful summer. On that note, I just wanted to mention that this forum is being recorded and it is also live on Facebook. During the presentation, there will be the opportunity in your Zoom area to submit some questions to us, which we will try to answer during the presentation in real time, but if we can't, we will certainly try to answer them at the end of the presentation. And that's also in addition to any pre-submitted questions that you submitted. We will try to get to all of them. I'm sure some of those questions will be answered as we go through the presentation, but if for any reason we don't get to any of those questions, certainly please email us and we will promptly respond to any and all questions that you have. So again, thank you so much for joining us. With that, I just want to give you a little history and a little background, if I may, on Camps R Us and how we actually got started. Back in 1992, my wife Joanne became a registered nurse and she was working at the Nassau University Medical Center as a neonatal intensive care nurse, working 12-hour shifts. I was a teacher for the New York City Department of Education, and during the summer, I would work an extra summer teaching job at a high school in Far Rockaway, Queens. With that, the question came up at dinner one night, Joanne, if you're coming off of the 12-hour shift and you need to go to bed to sleep to go back to work, and I need to go to Far Rockaway High School to teach, what are we going to do with our two children, Jason, and we also have a daughter, Lauren? What are we going to do with them while I'm gone and you're sleeping? So my wife said, well, why don't we put them in summer camp? And I said, that's a great idea. So with that, I called all the surrounding camps where we live in Hicksville and found out what was involved and what they were going to charge us. And I was kind of a little shocked because what they wanted to charge us for one child would have been more money than I would have made for the entire summer. So we made the decision that I would stop working that summer job and I would stay home with my children. And we had a great time, beach, pool, movies, you name it. But I said to my wife, you know, it's really unfortunate because I'm sure there are other families in the same situation we're in. And we should try to figure out what we can do not only to help ourselves, but also help the other family members within our community. So with that, we spent about a year getting all the policies and mandates together that the state health department and the local health department required, what the American Camping Association required. And we put all of these safety plans together and health related plans and policies together. And then the next question that came up between the two of us is, well, where can we possibly have a camp program? So because my children went to Holy Family School in Hicksville, where I was a school board member and a regional board member, and I was quite involved, we were all quite involved with the parish, I approached the Monsignor and actually the Bishop of the diocese, and I said, I have an idea. Your school building is empty all summer. It's not being utilized. What about if we started a camp program that would help the community, help me and my family personally, and it would also benefit the parish and the school? And they said, try it. And that was 1993 when we opened up Holy Family Summer Camp with 153 children. And the following year, we opened up a second location in Belmore. And the third year, we opened up 2 more locations in Williston Park and Valley Stream. And it continually grew. And it got to the point where it was getting very difficult to operate and run logistically 4 or 5 summer camp programs that truthfully were totally separate entities. Holy Family Summer Camp, St. Barnabas Summer Camp, and so on and so forth. So my son Jason, having his MBA in business, suggested that we incorporate the business, put it under one umbrella, and operate the camps that way. And that happened in 2005 when Camps R Us became incorporated with the help of my son, who at that time completely immersed himself full-time in the family business. In 2012, we had 7 campuses between 2012 and 2020, including 3 in Suffolk County. We're looking to open up an 11th location this summer. And 2020, during the pandemic, we were completely able to reimagine camp. We had absolutely 0 cases of COVID-19, which is a wonderful thing. Credit due to my wife, our health director, who cracked the whip with policies and what needed to be done. And here we are. We had a very successful 2020 that we absolutely are going to build upon and move into the 2021 season. So that's a little background about Camps R Us and how we got started, and just so you have a little history about us as a family and our business. So thank you for listening to that.
So hi,
Joanne,
everybody.
I think you're next.
That was great, Gary. So Crew Cares. As you can see, this program was born out of a need that we had as parents, as working parents. And we believe that there are 5 foundations of the Camp R Us experience that we keep out there, because I believe that these 5 foundations are a reflection of our mission and vision and the principles that we live by. So all of our staff and the kids who come and the families know about these 5 foundations. And the first one being community. And certainly we have a lot of community awareness because we were part of the community and had a need. There was a gap in the need that we had for summer daycare, and we were able to create something that many families could use. Unbeknownst to us, we thought we were the only ones. And we built this on a shared interest, common goals. So community is very important to the foundation of Camps R Us. Our attitude. We've been through a lot, especially last year, and I hate to use the word unprecedented, challenging, even though we use those words. There was a lot that we learned about ourselves and about our community and about the attitudes of the people who work with us, the attitudes of family. And we learned that we were very kind to one another. Our staff stepped up 150%. Most of them are teachers who were going through their own stuff, at camp, and they were so positive, and everyone stepped up to make Camp 2020 happen. We just don't do it on our own. We have a whole village. So everyone's attitude kept everyone's other attitude in check, if you will. And it was a beautiful thing to see, very positive attitude. We take our responsibility very seriously. Actually, my grandchildren go to Camps R Us. My children went to Camps R Us. Our friends and family members had sent their children. So we have a great responsibility to model positive actions, be positive role model, be trustworthy, be honest, and care for one another. Empathetic. As my husband mentioned, I am a nurse, and I've had many different roles as a nurse. My first role being in neonatal intensive care, where empathy is very important. But I also was a family support nurse where I cared for folks who experienced sudden onset of terminal illness, worked with families who, you know, had trauma involved in their family. So empathy is a very important characteristic or component to have, especially at camp. We see folks from all different walks of life who don't wear their situations on their sleeve. So we practice empathy, we practice being kind, we practice trying to listen and understand what someone may be going through. And that's always been the way for Camps R Us, especially in the community, because we really try to make it available to all. Safety. Well, you know, for 10 years, we had won the safety award from our insurance company, which they don't do anymore. But for 10 years, we held that Safety First Award. We incorporate safety in everything we do, in our programming, in the way we interview our staff, in the way we go on trips, in the way we implement the standards. You know, everybody is part of a family, and the camp family and our community. So these foundations are evident and illustrated in everything that we do. Next slide, Jay. So we've grown. As Gary told you, you know, we started with one camp, and actually I was the director on my days off, and Gary was there all the time. And we had counselors. We didn't even have group leaders at that time. And we made it work. It was beautiful. And it just caught on like wildfire. And so each year, as different parishes approached us, we felt a need to expand the programs. And I have to say that I have the medical background and the nursing background. Gary is an educator, and Jason's background in business has, you know, an MBA degree, really helped us to launch this into a full-fledged LLC. And moving forward, I mean, he certainly is a great asset to those areas that we're not, you know, so proficient in. So I think we have a nice combo and a nice team here. So we have campuses throughout Long Island now. We go all the way from Valley Stream, Baldwin, St. James, Deer Park, East Rockaway, Farmingdale, Hicksville, Melville, Syosset, Valley Stream, and Williston Park. You know, we opened all of them last year in 2020, thanks to our wonderful staff. And we're moving forward. We just keep our eye focused and moving forward. So it's really amazing how it's grown. Jay.
Hi, everyone. So we're going to start getting into what's going on from last summer, this summer, share with you a lot of the information about our successes from last summer that'll carry over into 21, and also what we're looking forward to bringing into camp this summer, and maybe bringing back also. Want to talk to you just about some of the things we've been working on with some of our colleagues in the American Camp Association, New York State Camp Directors Association, and Long Island Camps and Private Schools Association. We, starting last year, as soon as we really discovered the pandemic and what it was going to mean for camp and what it was going to mean for our camp community, we started reaching out to colleagues to get all of the best information we could, and worked with American Camp Association and their field guide, which was the first set of guidelines and standards that we had to navigate through COVID-19, and to really decide if we could open camp safely and do it in a way that would make parents, including myself and my wife and, you know, our friends and family, feel comfortable and know that, you know, coming back to camp after a few months at home from school and from activities and away from family, and kind of having a sense of isolation, would be really the first sense of normalcy for campers coming back. So we did that. And we joined the Association of Long Island Camps, and they've been a great resource for us as well, sharing best practices. And what's amazing about our industry is that everyone has a real great kindred spirit and really shares what works. And we kind of use the old saying, the rising tide will raise all ships, and it really does. And so we've really jumped onto that, and we're still doing it. We had a meeting earlier today talking about things like trips and swimming, and the ability for us to safely travel off-site, which is a big part of our program, as some of you on the call know, and some of you are going to learn tonight. So the most important thing to know is that we couldn't do any of this without our team, our staff, our regional directors, our campus directors, our program directors, our group leaders, our specialists, our counselors, our junior counselors. There's a lot of people who work at camp. And normal summers, in 2019, our last, regular summer, we had over 350 staff across all of our campuses. And they're amazing people. And they really took on the challenge of creating a safe environment last summer, and really bringing out the best in their profession as camp professionals. Most of them are educators. Most of them are working in schools or working remotely now and going through the stress and the anxiety that we're all facing. But camp is on their mind. We meet with them on a regular basis through Zoom. And we talk about the upcoming summer, what they're doing to plan, and how we're integrating all of these ideas into every campus. One big thing about Camps for us is that every campus receives the benefits of what we're doing. We're a family organization. Every campus runs an identical program, has an identical staff training, has an identical calendar. Maybe some dates would change, but the same events and activities. And that's really important to families who are looking for a campus near their home or near where they work, and they can trust that they're getting the same high quality program wherever they go. And that starts with our staff. So the biggest thing for us is to start with a great base and to hire staff who are highly qualified. So we have a very rigorous hiring process. They go through our hiring director and they have an interview with a camp director. We background check all of our staff. We do national and state and county and local background checks. We hire folks who are really pursuing careers, because camp is often a complementary career to an educational career. So they have a 10-month career where camp can be that 2-month crossover during the summer. And so they're oriented towards children and really bring that kind of focus in. And then as far as leadership goes, experience counts. I'll say more so than professional degrees and certificates and things like that. Hands-on approach with children and having that experience, whether it's teaching or coaching or aspiring to that and volunteering, we really look for that as well. We always talk about safety. Safety first is more than a mantra with us. It's really designed, and not so much just the actual safety, the physical well-being, but peace of mind for parents too. And I can tell you, I really subscribe to that, especially during the summer when we're running around and taking care of a lot of the big stuff at camp. And, something in the back of your mind says, oh, is everybody okay? And I know that everybody is, and I can trust that our staff are doing the right thing. And I also trust that if something happens, they'll take care of it and they'll let me know that they took care of it. These are really top quality people, and, they have a blast during the summer. Camp is also for our staff, and they really participate and engage and facilitate activities. And they're jumping in at every moment to make the summer really special. And that's super important as part of our mission and how we deliver that camp experience to our campers. So in that, I want to jump into some new stuff that we're looking at this year and talk about how we communicate with our parents. This is one way, having Zoom conferences and Zoom webinars and things like that. And it's wonderful to be able to present this information, but also we want to have the ability to really interact, in real time during the summer. So we've worked with our technology provider, and we've been part of the development of this new app called Companion. And Companion is a mobile app that it will be free for all of our camp parents. Every family can subscribe to it. And it provides really great opportunities to see your campers in action during the summer with photography, candid photography that happens, every camp day, and we can share that with you. Regular updates. So communication, in the past, we've used text updates and email and things like that, but having a dedicated app will just give you that hands-on. so you know what's going on. And this comes with technology like facial recognition software. So you'll be able to see your children in your app and don't have to scroll through hundreds of other kids to see yours. It'll include direct messaging by group. So if there's an update that's just for your group at your campus and your particular child, you'll get that information, and it won't be as generalized maybe as in the past. And you'll be able to have this information, at your fingertips throughout the summer. So you can really have kind of a window into camp, and it's really going to be a wonderful part of our home camp communication with our parents. So that is really how we keep a close relationship during the summer. Obviously, campers are on campus. During COVID, parents weren't allowed to visit. We don't have any outside vendors come in unless they're tested or health and wellness screened, and we go through a rigorous process with them. So in order to see what camp is like and to be part of that, we had to find a way, and this app is the way to do it. Like I said, regular text updates, photography, and just knowing what's going on at camp so you can go about your day worry-free, whether you're back at work or whether you're still working from home. Whether or not camp is a necessity, or for this summer, it's just going to be a way to get the kids a break from, the routine of this pandemic, and to get them back with friends and socializing and interacting. We want you to feel comfortable, and we want you to know that we're doing everything we can and everything we would want to see if we were choosing a camp that wasn't ours, and what we would do as parents and grandparents. And this is it. And this is part of that positive experience at camp. I want to switch back over to Joanne just to go over how we're continuing to navigate COVID-19. We have 9 steps here. We'll go over them briefly. This information is also on our website, and for every attendee and also anybody who's with us on Facebook, we will post all the slides, and we'll also post an FAQ from the session so you can catch up on anything that you may have missed. Take it away, Mom.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jason. So before I talk about COVID, I want to talk about what our standards were around health and well-being. And you notice I say well-being, okay? Because children who attend our camp, of course, have to have immunizations. They have to have a physical that's within 1 year. We check everything. If there's any special needs, we have to make an assessment around that to make sure we're a camp that can meet those needs. So we have a lot of standards and policies in place already that we needed to add to. And certainly last year was very difficult because we didn't even know we could open camp until around, I would say, maybe it was June 10th. And then we had to write all the COVID policies to open and train the staff to open by June 29th. So needless to say, and while we were learning, and me as a nurse, I mean, I know I've been a nurse for almost 30 years, but COVID is a different animal, okay? So I had to learn, and I had to make sure that the staff, was able to be trained so that, even our health designees, and that our communicable disease plan, we had to beef that up to include COVID. So I want to talk to you about some of the things that really worked for us. And I've also am an affiliate with the Association for Camp Nursing. And I have to tell you that they've been a godsend. I've attended many conferences with them, and the American Camp Association, and looking at the CDC guidance. So the first thing we did last year was certainly gather relevant and evidence-based as we could get data. What was this disease? How do we prevent it from spreading? And so through those organizations, the CDC, the ACN, and the ACA, we learned an awful lot. Also, going onto seminars and listening to especially pediatricians and epidemiologists and infectious disease experts, because there was so much question around children and COVID and what would happen. And we didn't know, all we knew is everybody was going to the hospital and may not come out. And so it was very frightening. So it's okay to be afraid at first, but we need to take a breath and listen to the science. And that's what we did. I am the health and wellness director. I am the nurse that oversees all of the sites. However, we have trained health designees, numbers of them at each site, and they are trained in first aid, CPR, emergencies, epinephrine pen, and so on and so forth. And we actually had everyone go online and take the Johns Hopkins Tracer program, not because they would become tracers of COVID, but because it gave such a beautiful, detailed overview of COVID. And I wanted them to develop an understanding about COVID so that they wouldn't be afraid, or they really would know how to follow that communicable disease plan and the guidance we received. So, because, even though we opened camp, I could never guarantee, and I still can't guarantee, that someone won't get sick. But I can guarantee you that we have protocols in place that will deal with the situation and stop it dead in its tracks. Okay, so that's really important. So our health designees are trained. We even train them on how to take a temperature, how to assess, what to do after that. So very important. Cleaning. We were always, this is something that came out in the ACN's research study many of us participated in. And what we all said was, we think the disinfecting and the cleaning was something to that level we're going to always keep, because we had fewer communicable diseases all around. There were really no colds, very few GI things, very few, strep throats, because we were washing our hands properly, singing happy birthday, or 20 seconds. And there were teams that came in to sanitize before and after each activity. There were equipment that was isolated for certain cohorts. So many different standards that were implemented. Hand washing was the number one. The health check screenings. This is really important, and this is where parents and families come in, and this is where that community feel comes in. 14 days before, and this is going to be for this year too, before camp starts, before a camper comes to their first day of camp, because there's many different weeks, we're asking that folks, and you'll be given either an app or a Google Sheet to record temperatures once a day and symptoms, and also to answer questions around using non-pharmacological interventions. That's a big word, but what that means is, do you wear a mask? Have you come into contact with anyone? Have you gone to parties and big crowds? Have you gone to, had a lot of play dates? Have you traveled outside the United States or to another state? Have you gone on a plane? All of those questions are really important. And I know that folks would say to me, Joanne, folks may be lying to you, or they may not be telling you the truth. And yes, I would say some of them do. But what's most important is, if you take care 14 days before and keep your masks on and follow the guidance and keep the distance, keep areas that you're in ventilated, we know through those studies that those things work. They prevent COVID. Even residential camps who had kids sleeping over, some of them had no COVID, or very, very few cases, because they did those things. So the health checks are important, but also it's important to partner with our families, so that, and our staff members, who were tested, by the way, last year every 2 weeks, just so I would catch something, if it came up. So that's going to be really important. That's going to be key. We're going to continue that. Social distancing and face coverings, really important. If we social distance, and most of our activities we plan outdoors, really important. Once you go outside and have ventilation, the chances of catching COVID drop significantly. So we're going to do that. And also, when we're indoors, we keep things ventilated. If we have an air conditioner on, unfortunately, we have a fan and an air conditioner or a window open. And that's really important. Face coverings, we have cohorts who travel together, who do not use anything outside of their cohort until it's cleaned or sanitized. And they have to wear a face covering. We all have to wear a face covering. So, and we'll get face covering breaks, and outside we can be 6 feet apart and playing games 6 feet apart, and take our mask off if we're 6 feet apart outside with our cohort. So there are strict rules and regulations, just like school. And, there are times where we can, have those masks breaks more than they have at school because we're outdoors. Visitor policy. Camps R Us was always a camp that welcomed visitors, but during COVID, visitors are not permitted. If someone needs to meet with the camp director, that has to be, scheduled well in advance so that we can take the proper precautions. And if someone needs to come into camp, they are subject to the same amendments as everyone else. So we're keeping that in place. Response protocols. Again, the communicable disease plan really is a detailed plan on how we're going to deal with any communicable disease, including COVID, to stop the spread and to monitor folks. Now, the Department of Health is a partner, and they would trace, God forbid, if somebody was, exposed. But we certainly have teams, communicable disease teams in place at each site, and this would be comprised of the director and health designees. Communication, effective communication is key. Keeping the lines of communication open with parents, especially if someone gets sick. We do this anyway with like strep throat or Fifth's disease or any of those other childhood communicable diseases where we call. There's regulations about who can return to camp and what has to be done beforehand. This will all be highlighted in our COVID playbook, which I just finished writing, which is a fluid document because, we are only as good as the guidance we get today. And every day we're learning something. So the document is quite extensive, fluid, and it's updated as we get new information. So that's our COVID playbook that'll be ready online soon. And that's how we did it last year. And we couldn't have done it without our parents partnering with us, our staff really taking care on the weekends not to, be in crowds and to really follow those NPIs and the guidance. And they know how important camp was to children this year. Even though we changed, and Jason's going to talk about this in a minute, we changed our programming to really help us with keeping COVID under wraps. And the children said it was the best year they ever had. They didn't miss the things that were normally in the program. Some of them felt even better staying on the campus. So we had a lot of aha moments, a lot of learning, a lot of best practices and lessons learned that we're going to incorporate into 2021. That's basically what I have to say about that. And you'll hear more from me as the guidance changes. And I have to tell you that in just one last thing, Jason, and then I'll turn it over to you, that most of our staff are teachers, and most of them have been immunized already. So, I'm thinking, a large quantity of our staff will have their 2 shots, 2 immunization vaccines by camp. So that's very promising as well. And I will too. So take it away, Jay.
All right, thanks so much. So some of you might have seen this, but we created a little presentation just to remember 2020 and share some photos and some memories that we had. It's not everything, but it's something. I have to, apologize because I gratuitously made my daughter the face of the video here. That's Macy. She goes to our St. James campus and doesn't stop talking about camp ever, which is amazing because, it's without any kind of prompting or she just asks every day, when is camp? So it makes me so happy. She was part of our Tiny Tots program last year, which honestly underwent the smallest changes of any group, because they're normally on campus and they normally have all this great stuff come in for them. But that kind of just expanded to all the other groups, and they really, I mean, almost to the person, had a fantastic summer. I've never seen it. We always have great summers, but this was something special. So just want to share this video. It's a little less than 2 minutes. Let's go here. Show me how it goes, and if you find your face with a smile on your face, you'll remember what we did with our steps for training. Shake a little, take a little time to make it funny. Laugh a little, find a way to make a funny. Can't wait to see what you're gonna show me. Just want to jump in here, everybody. I got some feedback that we weren't getting sound on that one. So I apologize for that. This has been shared out. We'll share it out again, so you can get the full effect here. So I apologize for that. We're having some technical issues, I think, with the sound on my end. Let's keep going. So we want to get into, the camp program a little bit and talk about what we do. We run camper programs that start at age 3, go all the way up to age 15. And so we break down our groups based on age or grade. So if you're looking to enroll for camp, or you're coming back after a couple of years, we start with our Tiny Tots program. Tiny Tots are 3 and 4-year-olds. That is as of the first day of camp. This year camp opens June 28th. So if you're 3 or 4, as of the first day of camp, you're generally in Tiny Tots. Now there are some 4-year-olds, my daughter included, who's gonna almost be 5 during summer. And then you jump into our kinder camp program. That's 5 and 6-year-olds, and some older 4-year-olds who maybe have been through pre-K. And that takes you from an early childhood program, which is really identified as Tiny Tots, into kinder camp, which is really your first full camp experience, where you can access all of the activities, all of the off-campus activities that we offer, electives, things like that. And then from there, we go into our grade-based groups. We start from 1st grade, and 1st and 2nd graders are generally grouped together, 3rd and 4th graders together, then 5th and 6th graders, then 7th and 8th graders. And when you get to 9th grade, you can become what we call a C2, which stands for Camper to Counselor. It's a transition program. It's what we call a fully assisted staff training. And so 9th graders can kind of bridge that gap between being a camper and a staff member. And it's pretty great. You get hands-on training and you get to work with younger kids. But as you grow at camp, the big thing is your program is of great quality. You have a lot of activities. As a traditional day camp, we do a lot of stuff. And what you see on the screen is just a handful of some of the things, from off-campus trips to our Pinewood Derby program. We do petting zoos and pony rides. We do edible art projects. We have robotics and STEAM activities. And you kind of aspire to more as you get older at camp. So you get to do more exciting things and great things. So it's pretty great. When you talk about grouping and things like that, you're talking about small group sizes. Every camper age group, we call them, you might hear the term divisions. Every group is led by a group leader. For Tiny Tots, it's an early childhood certified teacher. And then group leaders are generally teachers or well on their way to becoming teachers, senior staff members with us. specialists at every specialty, like athletics and dance and arts and crafts and other programming, educational programming, which we'll get into a little bit later. And then you have all of your counselors and junior counselors who are there too. So the average camper to staff ratio overall at camp is about 5 to 1. Campers to staff members. It varies by age group. It depends on your campers' ages. They get older, the groups get a little bit bigger. But that in general, it's about 5, maybe 6 to 1 at the most. All right. So talking about the camp day, now some of this stuff is stuff we've done forever, as far as I can remember, coming as a camper and growing up as a counselor and all that kind of stuff. But some we've really developed over the past year as part of what we're doing with our COVID response. And that specifically is the valet arrival and dismissal. So at our camps, parents drop off and pick up. That helps you to kind of set your schedule and you don't have to worry about a bus time and things like that. It also allows you to be part of the camp day at camp. So you get to drop off, you get to see the staff in the morning, you get to see that first interaction with the counselors and the group leaders. And it's done valet style now. So we do it at the car. You pull up to a designated area on campus, staff will come over, they'll take your temperature. They take the temperature of everyone in the car. They'll do a wellness screening, which this year you'll probably do a virtual one through the app where you can answer your wellness questions in the morning before you come to camp. And then everyone will either sanitize or wash their hands, depending on the campus and where drop-off is. And they'll go into their cohorts for morning assembly, and they'll do all the normal, breakout activities and things we do for camp. Same thing happens at dismissal. When you arrive, we check ID, and then campers are brought right to the car, wash up before they go, and you're off pretty quickly in general. We've always had a flexible schedule where you can choose any number of weeks. So the summer in total is 8 weeks of camp, from June 28th to August 20th. Within there, you have 8 weeks of camp. You can choose any number of weeks you like. During each week, you can choose anywhere between 2 and 5 days. In general, we like you to have the same number of days each week, but if you even want to do a different number of days each week, that's possible too. Just let us know. But you can actually pick which 2 days or which 4 days or which 3 days. And you can really maximize the flexibility for your family schedule and what you're looking for. And then for our Tiny Tots program, we've offered not only the full day, which is 9 to 5, but we've also offered a mini day 9 to 2 and a half day 9 to 12. We're actually extending that, during the pandemic and during, this time when things are kind of up in the air. Any age group can do a half day or mini day in general, because we'll be primarily on campus, and that'll allow for that flexibility as well. So, you get to see that the full variety of activities, but you can really customize your schedule and really make it fit your needs. We're still offering extended hours. They're on demand, they're a la carte. The program is there every day. You can drop off early every day. You can pick up late any day except the last day of camp. Early drop off starts at 7:30. Late pickup goes till 6. And it's just added to your Camp in Touch account, which is, how you do your billing and stuff like that. It's pretty easy. This year's camp calendar will be released probably first week of March, second week of March. We are trying to hold off as long as we can as we wait to determine what trips we'll be able to offer. And with that trips, if you've been with us in the past, we go off site for swimming and for bowling. We're still waiting to see what we can do. We're trying to figure out what exactly the bus protocols will be by group. We're trying to figure out what venues will still be open and how accessible they'll be for a private camp coming to, let's say, a public pool facility. But then also really trying to focus on outdoor venues and trying to keep the kids in as safe a space as possible. I think we do have a question in the Q&A. I'm going to try and pull it up here. All right, we have a question. I'm not able to pull it up at present. So if you ask that question, hold off a moment. We are going to have time at the end to answer questions. And what I could do is maybe take our screen share off. I think that's what's preventing us from seeing the questions. So we're going to hold questions till the end. I promise we'll come back to it. All right, let's roll forward here. Just some photos of what we've been doing over the past number of years. These are all from previous summers, not 2020, of course. And you see, you know, we have, between our staff and campers, they developed really great relationships, really deep personal feelings towards each other, and, you know, a trust and a bond that, you know, is amazing. And we've been lucky to really incorporate our camp families into our extended family and really try to take care of folks as we would want to be treated. And, you know, I can remember, and I remember taking a couple of these photos. The one on the bottom right was at Citi Field. That's in the Jackie Robinson Rotunda. And that's Aaron Coleman. He's one of our regional directors. And those were some campers who got the opportunity to be on the field with us before the game. The Camps R Us was honored as a super fan organization that brought the most kids to the game that year. So we actually toured the stadium and got to see underneath the stadium. And that was a photo we took before we got back up with our group. You could see some of the kids holding their lunch. But it was very cool. I was there for the photograph on the top left. That's Adventureland on the Music Express. And the photographer at great personal risk turned around and got this amazing shot holding his thousands of dollars worth of camera equipment to get that great shot. We use that a lot. If you've seen our advertising, we use it a lot. Just like the girls at the bottom, that's from our Farmingdale campus on the first day we opened there. And they are much older now, but this is an amazing picture that we took. This is actually one of the photos that's on the windows outside of our office. So, you know, we share these memories, and these are just some of them. And, you know, it's great to think back to where we came from and what we've been doing, and, you know, hope to continue doing that as we move forward. I want to jump into registration information for folks who are asking. Like we said, you can do up to 8 weeks. You have different price points depending on how many weeks and how many days you choose. And you see here with the mini and half day, it says Tiny Tots. That's traditionally what it's offered for, but anybody can do half day and mini day this year. And then you have our C2 pricing, which is that 9th grade group. If you look at the numbers, the more you come to camp, the better your rate per week per day. It's like anything buying in bulk. So if you do a package of 8 weeks, 5 days, you're getting a better rate there than anything less than that. But you can fully customize. What's also great about our registration is you can register now. You just pay a deposit. It's $300. It's included in prices here. And then you can choose to pay in full. If you want to get it out of the way, you can do our camp savings plan, which allows you to pay it off by May 1st in any way you like, lump sum or payments. And then we have our installment plan too, where you can do monthly installments from now till the end of August. And that seems to be the most popular one lately. It gives you the convenience of a lower monthly payment. You can kind of schedule it in your, you know, in your bank and everything else. And we take that from a credit or debit card. We have our camp dates up here. We're June 28th to August 20th, as I mentioned, closed Monday, July 5th. We always take the day for 4th of July. Let's keep going. So as I mentioned, we have those payment options, billing preferences. You can pay any way you like. You know, these days, you know, whatever's most convenient for you, we try to figure it out through our payment provider. And we can do everything online. You can do it at our office. We have the ability to do it safely and at a social distance. You can also take care of it through your Camp in Touch account, and that's what you set up when you register. So we do that. As far as discounts go, we always offer a sibling discount. If you have 2 campers, it's going to be 5% off both kids. We discount the whole family, which may be a little different than other programs that only discount the subsequent siblings. For 3 or more kids, it's going to be 10% off. We do a great workforce discount program. It's basically an employee discount or like an organizational discount, depending on where you work, or if it's an organization you participate or volunteer with. It's $100 off per camper. There's a list at our website, campsrus.org/discounts of about, I think it's up to 50 or so organizations. Don't quote me on that, but we always add new ones too. So if you work somewhere and they're not on the list, just have someone from HR or payroll, or if you're a small business, it could be you, email and say, we want to get on the workforce program. There's a couple of criteria. They're waived in the first year. So everybody who signs up as a new business in the first year gets the workforce discount, whether or not you meet the criteria. And the criteria is simple. You allow us to just tell folks, hey, there's a discount if you work here or you participate here. And then in future years, you have to have a minimum of 5 campers enrolled from that organization to get the workforce discount. And pretty much everybody who's ever signed up has done that. We are beyond our early bird discounts at this point, but we do offer them every year. And so you say, why do we put that up here? Well, you'll pay less for camp in the future if this is your first time, or if you decided to register a little late this year. We start early bird discounts in August of the, in August. This summer in August, you'll get information about 2022 and registering to get some great discounts. But we will, still have different promotions and different events and things like that. Also, anybody who registers who's part of a virtual open house or part of this virtual meet and greet, we're doing a $50 coupon per child. So if you register, you just mention that to us in an email and we'll confirm with your registration of the event, and you get a little bit of a discount there. That's equivalent to what we were offering during our December promotions, Give the Gift of Camp. So just a little bit of extra savings. Another program that's not on here, and if you haven't signed up, it's a great one. It's Long Island Loyalty, longislandloyalty.com. You get $30 off per child. And then you get discounts on our extended hours, optional field trips, extra camp shirts, apparel, things like that. It's free to sign up. Great program. It's run by a mom from Massapequa. And it actually only supports local businesses on Long Island. So it's really great. It helps to get you guys some discounts, but also not just camp, but a lot of small businesses on the island who may be hurting right now can use the business, and you get a great value for using that card. So check that out too. Okay. So if you want to register, the best way to do it's online. It's really easy. I can tell you, I haven't registered the girls yet. Sorry, mom and dad, forgot. But when we do it, it's real easy. campsurus.org/enroll. It's very secure. We use 128-bit encryption. We are a PCI level 1 compliant camp, which means all your financial data is secured in a vault. We don't even see that information. It's all in a server in another state. And you get instant confirmation that you're in. And that's going to be important this year, because as we've released open house information, as we've released some information about this meet and greet and getting some folks in, and we've been getting a lot of phone calls and emails and Facebook messages and text through Instagram and everything else. We are going to have less capacity than we normally do this year, just like we did last year. And there's going to be limited enrollment. And that's usually not an issue for us. Because we have the ability to add on additional staff and camp groups and things like that. But during current events, we don't know. So you're going to want to know that you can get registered. Like I said, you don't have to commit to anything. I don't think I mentioned it before, but I'll say it here. Even if you pick a certain number of weeks now, you can make changes all the way until May. May 1st is the cutoff to make changes to your enrollment. So even if you're not sure, am I going back to work? What's my schedule going to be? What am I going to do? I can't decide 4 months from now what life is going to look like. That's okay. And I can tell you, as a family too, we set deadlines on our website and for the public and everything else. But if you call and you need something, we will take care of it. So if you need extra time to make a decision, that's fine. As far as changing your session or your dates or things like that, you're on the monthly installment plan, but you need to skip a month, no problem. Just call us and let us know. We really want to be able to take care of you if you have the need. So always feel free to reach out by email or call us, and all of our contact information will be up on an upcoming slide here. And of course, on our website, social media, all that stuff. All right, as I just said. So we are in our main office a few times a week right now. We are also working remotely as we are right now. So you can always reach us by phone. We will call you back within a day or so, as long as there's not too many messages. We answer emails usually within 24 to 36 hours. I answer all the messenger stuff on Facebook and social media. So if you hit me up on there, if you're part of our parent association, it's Crew Parents, CRU Parents on Facebook. We're also at Camp Surus on Instagram and Twitter. LinkedIn, if you're looking for a job, anybody on here looking for a job, we're hiring at all locations. We just ask that if you're going to come to the main office, just call us and make sure we schedule an appointment. That's going to be important. All righty. So it goes without saying that we so appreciate everyone who's logged in and joined us and who's on Facebook right now. I have the Facebook feed going, and it's fantastic that you spent some time with us tonight just to talk about camp and catch up on what we've been doing and what we will be doing. And there's so much more information to share, but we're going to be releasing it over the next days and weeks. We want you to stay tuned and stay updated with us. I'm going to stop the share here. I think we'll be able to get into the Q&A. Bear with me, folks, as we do this. There we go. Q&A is up. So it was the screen share. I'm sorry about that, guys. All righty. Let's see. Okay. So first question up here, will the campers have to wear masks in their cohorts? I can take that one. No, they don't have to. It's optional. So they're not required to wear them in cohorts. Now, there are specific pieces of the guidance that change depending on if they're indoors or outdoors. Generally, if they're in confined space indoors, which is rare, we'll ask them to put masks on. So if they're waiting to use the restroom or they're using the changing room after a swimming, if we go swimming this summer, or a water activity, if we're doing on-campus water stuff, they'll put their mask on, or if they're walking past another cohorted group. But in general, last summer, cohort campers, when they were in cohort, did not need to wear masks. It's optional, they can. So if, as a parent, if you feel more comfortable, you can have your child wear a mask, but they're not required to do so. All right, next question. Okay, this is a great question, and we're going to be honest about it. This is my child's first year of camp. If he really does not like camp after the first week or two, is there a way to get money back for the remainder of the summer? So honestly, no, there's not. So what I would recommend, if you're unsure about your child's likelihood to enjoy their camp experience, register for the minimum you can. So even 1 week, 2 days, 3 days, something like that. It is very rare for campers to leave because they don't enjoy the program. And I'm not just saying this as a camp director, I'm telling you as a parent too. It's at any camp, I'm going to be honest with you, camps on Long Island are some of the highest quality camps in this country and in the Northeast for sure. We've never really seen someone not like it, but every child is unique. I would say register for a short session. You can always extend. Discounts will extend. At this point in the year, there's no time-based discounts. So, we'll be able to get you, and you'll just pay the difference in the rate. So if you come for a week and you say, wow, he loved it, I'm so happy, add on 2, 3, 4, whatever, you can do that. And go from there. I'm going to keep taking the questions here. I'll ask the question, mom or dad, if you want to jump in, just, let me know. So this is one asking about specific information about Williston Park. So the question relates to their outdoor space and air conditioning, things like that. So Williston Park is kind of a unique setup because it has a separate gymnasium, an auditorium. It has a playground and turf surface outside, and also a blacktop surface. Last summer, because of the small enrollment, we didn't cross the street, Willis Avenue, to go over to the field across street and the basketball courts and everything, which are options for us as enrollment grows. So the mom asked, they have young campers, are they mostly indoors? And the answer is no. I'd say we do a great split at every campus between indoors and outdoors. And that's really intentional. One, because we have great amenities at our campuses, being at some of these amazing private schools that have full indoor space, full gyms, full cafeterias, classrooms, multi-purpose spaces, and then also have great outdoor space, whether it's a field or a blacktop. We arrange the camp program to make sense for whatever surfaces we have, but we don't like too much exposure out in the heat and the sun, for safety. And then we don't want to be indoors too much because it is summer and you do want to get outside and sweat a little bit. So it's a great balance. And that's at every campus, not just Williston Park. But I would encourage you, if you missed the first 2 open houses we had were Syosset and Williston Park, the virtual ones. There are other campus open houses coming up at the end of this weekend. And we will be running March open houses for the other camps too. So definitely check that out. And if you have any further questions, if this doesn't answer it for anyone, feel free to email us, of course. Let's take a couple more.
So Jay, I can jump in here if you'd like and answer a couple of the questions to give you a little bit of a breather.
Here we go. Karen just gave us a comment. Thank you. We're looking forward to the boys being back this summer too. That was very nice of you to say. Let's see. Okay, question about meals and snacks, or do parents have to provide food?
Okay, I'll jump in on this one here. Children brown bag their lunch to camp. Typically, they bring the same kind of lunch they would bring to school: sandwich, juice pack, and a snack. However, we do refrigerate it until the lunch period, so you can send in anything that you'd like. But we do, throughout the day, give them an unlimited supply of drink, of course, cool, refreshing water or any of our prepackaged juice mix whenever they want it, or of course, whenever we feel they need it, because it's important. We feel that we want them hydrated throughout the day. And of course, we also give them a healthy snack every day. So that's the way our food program works. We do have some special event days where we have Make Your Own Ice Cream Sunday. This year, we're looking into the possibility at all the locations of having a Pizza Friday. And of course, at our Camp Carnival, which is called Shade Shindig, we do offer them a beautiful barbecue of hamburgers, chips, and so on and so forth. And those burgers we get locally, they're 100% beef. We get them locally from a distributor called Janowski's, which also services and supplies hamburgers to many, many diners throughout Long Island. So that's the food program. So I hope that answered the question.
Alrighty, let's go on. So
yeah, Jay,
we're talking.
I'll just keep going. If I can, I'll go down to the question about, does Belmore campus have AC yet? If not, does Hicksville? Our Belmore campus has been 90% air conditioned now for probably the past 6 years. The only part of our Belmore campus that is not air conditioned is the gymnasium and the cafeteria. But all of the other areas and classrooms, arts and crafts that we utilize is completely air conditioned. And as far as Hicksville, that entire building that we utilize, the entire first floor, our staff lounge, our infirmary, camp director's office, as well as the cafeteria, is completely fully air conditioned. The only location that's not air conditioned in Hicksville is, again, the gymnasium. But as far as Belmore and Hicksville with their gymnasium, we bring in these commercial grade fans. I'm not going to tell you the name of the company, but these fans, although they're fans, they're really air movers, and they're pushing air out of the gymnasium, which basically drops the temperature by, I would say, probably 15, maybe 20 degrees. So it's very, very comfortable. So that's the air conditioning situation in Belmore and Hicksville. So Jay, do you want to keep going?
Sure, I'll jump in here. So a couple of questions in here about swimming and bowling and trips. If we can travel based on the guidance, we are going to travel. And that's been a big part of our program in the past. And what we're waiting for is not even the venue guidance yet, because we do have some venues that have been announced. Outdoor amusement venues are going to be able to open. We might even be able to get, some sports venues that open and can have, cohorted groups there together. It's more the busing and how we can transport campers safely to these venues. So what we're working on is the logistics of this. And we will announce this and make it, public information. You'll see it if you've been part of camp through email and social media, but we'll post this stuff to our website as well. We're working on that at present. We actually had a big meeting today about transportation and figuring out what the bus policies are. We also have to check in with our bus company and make sure that they're following all the guidance that we need to follow as far as sanitizing, disinfecting, all that kind of stuff too. So I hope that, I know that's not a definitive answer, but we will have a definitive answer hopefully very soon. A lot of questions about air conditioning. So most of our indoor spaces at every campus are air conditioned. The big ones that are not, usually gymnasiums are not. There are a few exceptions because they're just too large to install reasonable air conditioning systems. And we use these big fans. It's a great company that really, the one I can tell you at our Belmore campus, we installed it last year. It's a portable unit, but we keep it in place, drops the temperature of the room by 15 degrees just by moving the air around. And so we have AC in most of the classrooms. If not all of them, it's usually the gymnasium, sometimes the cafeterias that are cooled by fans. the honest truth is we've tried to keep all of our campuses modernized and current with air conditioning. And I think we've done a good job keeping up with the demand for it. The thing is too, though, sometimes it's just infeasible to do that at a site that we're only using for 2 months. And so if the facility can't accommodate that type of thing, we can't. But if anyone has specific questions about their campus and their AC setup and everything else, we can go into that if you want to email us. But for the most part, most of the space is air conditioned. Another question came about air filtration units. As far as the schools go, most of them are not central AC, and they're done with split units or window units or the fans. Where there are filtration units in the schools, they are following the New York State guidance as far as we know, and we confirm that before the summer starts, and the New York State Department of Health that permits us to operate confirms that as well. So there was a specific question about portable air filtration units. We don't have any portable units because we can, utilize what's there in the schools as they go. Let's see here. Okay, another question came in about background checks and testing for COVID. So we background check all of our staff, including ourselves, every year, even though we know our backgrounds, but we want to have an objective, anonymous data set for every summer. We've done bi-weekly COVID testing, and we've had specific policies with regard to counselor, activity outside of camp, as far as kind of an honor system, but also it's an attestation that they signed for us last year that we'll also have in place this year, that if they do need to travel, they're going to have to quarantine before coming back to camp, and a few staff members did. If they had to travel out of state for some reason, or they had to, do something that required a quarantine coming back. So we did that. We also required testing when they came from out of state for anything, whether it was school or a pre-summer trip or anything like that. Going through these other ones here. Jump in. Yeah, go right ahead.
Can I jump in? Also,
Yes.
that pertains to campers too. So if someone goes on a plane on a vacation and wants to come back to camp, we have to talk about, what the process would be. So I'm not going to go into what it is, but we're very strict about the COVID policies and bringing people back in. So just wanted to say that.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, so a great question from Maria. When will the calendars be posted? And I'm glad you can't wait to be back this year. We can't wait to be back this year. Calendars, we're working on them now. So we're theming out our weeks this year. We're going to have some of the activities we had last year. We're going to bring in some traditions that we, kind of rotate through every few years, and then also trying to make room for trips. So we're working on it. I'm going to say, I'm the person who usually publishes the calendar. So I'm going to say second week of March, the latest. Think of St. Patrick's Day as kind of like your guiding date, March 17th for the last one to be up. And as soon as they're ready, we'll send them out as soon as they're ready by campus. We won't wait till they're all done. As the first ones are done, I'll post them. And for returning families, especially, you'll get them sooner than, new families. Sorry, guys. They're on our email list. If anybody wants to be on the notification list and get that information as soon as our returning families get it, feel free to email info@campsorus.org or call us. It's 877-850-CAMP, which is 2267. All this stuff is on, everywhere that we have Camp Sorus. And definitely, reach out and let us know how we can get you the information sooner. So we'll get you on our email list, get you on our text list. You can join our parent association on Facebook. It's open to anybody who's considering Camp 2, and that's a great resource to talk to current and former camp parents and get kind of the ins and outs of the program that's not a member of our family. Okay. Another question came in, what's the C2 program? So we mentioned it earlier. If you missed it, C2 stands for Camper 2 Counselor. That's a 9th grade program. You have to be finishing 9th grade this year or the year you're going to be in the C2 program. And it's designed as a fully assisted staff training. The staff training comes in the form of being mentored by current staff, counselors, group leaders, and program directors. And so there are workshops done during the summer. We give C2s the opportunity to lead activities and lead groups under the supervision of staff. So they're not staff members, they're campers. It's a reduced rate because there is a learning process here and we're kind of interning them. Sorry, getting more questions, guys, I apologize. Okay. So the C2 program has really been a great resource for us in developing new staff, bringing campers who are bridging that age where it's like, well, they're a teenager, they're too old for camp. They're not. And I can tell you, back when I was a C2, we called it the CIT program, Counselor and Training Program. It was a 3-year program. And me and my friends all did it. We all became counselors. And I can tell you, without, I don't want to think too hard on it, but at least 3 or 4 of our current campus directors were part of that C2 program. So these are people who have come up and become camp professionals starting, as campers. And we have a lot of former campers who are currently staff. So it's a really fantastic thing to see that next generation come up and become staff. So that's what the C2 program is all about. So I think that's the last. There was one more. Nope, that was it. We answered the other one too. If anyone has any other questions, pop them in the Q&A. We'll stay on for a couple more minutes. We want to answer as many questions as we can. We are going to post this, like we said. This will be up on our Facebook and our website. We will email the presentation to everyone who attended on Zoom. And we will put the link up in the comments from the Facebook Live feed. So we're going to hang on. It's 9:11. Let's hang on till 9:15, and then we'll call it a night.
Sounds good. That sounds great, Jason. Thank you so much. And maybe we can end with a replaying of the video, this time maybe with sound.
I don't know what was going on with the sound. I think it's because I have earphones in so I can hear myself. I'll definitely repost it tonight. I don't know if I want to run it through the Zoom, but we'll repost it tonight once we end, everyone. So when we post up this video, we'll also post up the presentation too. I apologize for that again.
That'll be great. Thank you so much.
I just wanted to thank everyone for coming tonight. It was a pleasure to be with you. And we look forward to seeing you in person.
All right, couple questions came in. Do we have a nurse or health safety person on site? I think that's a good one for Mom there.
Okay. Hold on. Let me just see. We have health designees at each site who are specifically trained, and I am on call for each site. And we also have 2 other nurses who work periodically to help me.
Just as a note too, we are hiring additional nurses for this summer. If anyone on is a nurse or anybody knows a nurse,
Yep.
You can email or call us.
An RN, yeah.
Yeah, RNs.
So.
Another question came in, will there be more than one cohort for 3rd and 4th graders in Deer Park? I honestly don't know. One big thing that's happening, and I'll share a little bit behind the curtain with folks. We are expecting our cohort size, which last summer was 15. And what that means is we were allowed to group up to 15 campers in that cohorted unit, which means they can travel together. They have their own exclusive staff. They use their own equipment and consumable equipment like arts and craft supplies, things like that. That number is likely to increase this year as the COVID numbers keep decreasing. We don't know what it's going to be. So we might not have more than one cohort, but we might have more campers. We're expecting additional enrollment, but I don't know, Karen, who asked the question. Will there be more than one cohort? I don't know exactly. We can check on our numbers, and we feel free to check in, with us, and we can check in with Michelle, your campus director, and see what our enrollment looks like as we continue on. And we'll try to figure that out for you. Great question from Candace. The 3 and 4-year-olds go on outside trips as well. Under normal circumstances, the Tiny Tots program is on campus only. Except for one trip, we usually did a trip to the movies every year, which was a great way to test out how they would respond to a trip, because it's a closed venue and they can all sit next to each other and have their popcorn and their snacks and drinks and stuff. We invited parents to visit that day and come to the movie. It's always a Disney or a Pixar or one of those ones. We're not going to be doing a movie trip this year. It's likely not going to happen because we'd have to be too close based on our guidance. And in general, Tiny Tots don't travel. So what we've done instead, what we kind of did for everyone last year, is bring all that entertainment on site. So instead of going to the petting zoo, we brought the petting zoo to camp. Instead of going to visit the museum, we would have like Mad Science or someone come in and do an experiment, or a group called Party Animals, which brought exotic birds and reptiles in, or TJ Tanner, the magician, came last year, or Darlene Graham, our friend who's a wonderful local children's singer and entertainer. The local fire department comes and does it what they call spray down with the big fire engine hose. All that kind of stuff comes in normally for Tiny Tots. We just expanded it and lengthened their stay at camp for the older kids last summer, which was great. And so no, Tiny Tots don't travel. Okay. I don't see any other. Oh, I got one more. Thank you, anonymous attendee, for saying thank you. We're so excited to see you back in Deer Park. Thanks so much. Thank you again to everyone for being here, for being part of this. I wish I could see everyone's face, but we had, this set up as a webinar, so it's just unfortunately our faces. But maybe next time we can get some more interaction. You can check out the individual campus open houses, campsrus.org/open house, and you can sign up through Zoom again. You can ask questions. There's a form on there if you want to pre-submit questions for your open house, and you'll be talking with your campus director, program director, and maybe some of the other staff will get on there too with you. It's a little bit more interactive. We're trying to make it a little bit more interactive. And then of course, reach out to us by phone, email, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. I can't say enough how much I appreciate everyone being here. Mom and Dad.
Yeah,
I just want to
ditto
say
for
thank you
me.
again. Yeah, thank you again to everyone. Jason, thank you. Joanne, thank you. All the participants, thank you. Again, if there are any questions that should come up after we close the town hall, by all means, please email us at any time. Again, like Jason said, within 2 or 3 days, we always respond to emails. So thank you so much for attending. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right,
We look
with that,
forward to seeing you.
Everyone have a great night. Thanks for spending some
Good
time with
night.
us, and we'll see you real soon. Bye now.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.